Welcome back, everyone, to Tarot and the Moons. My name is Ingrid. Let's get started. Now, in Vedic sidereal astrology, this full moon on May 1st is in the sign of Libra, whereas in tropical Western astrology, this full moon is in the astrological sign of Scorpio. I'm going to be talking probably a little longer with this particular video, so if you want to speed it up, you can always go to the YouTube settings and speed it up. But I wanted to share first a story before we go on to discuss the full moon energies, and that is that I am recording this on April 29th, and the full moon is in 2 days' time. And yesterday I'm in New York City. I was on Broadway in Park Place area, and it was after work. I was heading to go pick up my dog after doing a little errand. And there's always a lot of people on Broadway. There's just always a lot of people. And I'm walking like everyone else, and all of a sudden, when I get to this specific junction point, um, a tall Latino man uh, decides that he's going to punch me. And he punched me on the upper right shoulder area, upper left shoulder area, sorry. And I was taken aback. It really hurt. It was really, really painful. And there's again a lot of people, and there were like two guys behind him, and they saw what he did, and they were like, yo, what the hell's wrong with, they were cursing him out, and the guy just kept walking. And one of the guys was going to approach the aggressor, the assaulter, and I stopped him. I said, no, 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 it's okay. It's okay. I'll be fine. And the impression that I got was that had the Good Samaritan gone over and pulled the aggressor, I felt like either he had a weapon or something that could potentially make the whole situation worse. I'll just leave it there. And my instinct was so strong. And I kept reassuring these beautiful men, I'm fine, I'm okay, it'll be fine. And then we just went on our way, and I told the guy, I basically begged him, please don't approach him. I will be fine. And I shared with him what I was feeling, which was, we cannot approach people in an aggressive manner these days. In another lifetime, and you trust me and believe, you can ask any of my friends, that mofo would have been down, and we both would have been bloodied out. But in today's day and age, there are so many people that are being triggered. And when you have this Libra Scorpio engagement with emotions, some of these triggers can be really dark with that scorpionic energy. And then the Libra just wanting that peace. I'm glad I leaned toward my Libra. And by the way, this I think was all a precursor for me on a personal level, because in both Vedic astrology, my moon is actually in Libra, and in tropical Western astrology, my moon is actually in Scorpio. And what this is showing me personally is that I've come a long way. I don't even think I curse as much as I used to. I just have come a really long way in regulating my emotions and not allowing the rage to take over. Because I think that given the energies of the time, the rage is not going to be a regular type of rage. It's going to escalate pretty quickly. And so I'm saying all of this because I'm going to be discussing right now the energies of this particular moon. And I want you guys to just realize that in life, we are alchemical beings. So when I went to go pick up my dog, that place just always makes me so happy because you see just all of these dogs are just playing without a care in the world, right? They're just present to the moment. And I sat in the lobby waiting for them to bring me my dog, and I can hear all the dogs barking because my little Bucky was leaving, and he's pretty popular in there. And so they were all kind of like saying goodbye to him. It was so cute. And my energy immediately shifted. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to wake up tomorrow. This pain is going to go away, and it's not going to be black and blue. And I had even told the girls at the front, I was like, what happened? I was like, yeah, I'll probably get this huge black and blue um, thing on my shoulder. And, I was all like worried. I will admit that it is sensitive to the touch, and it is a little swollen, so I put ice packs on it, but it's not black and blue, and it doesn't hurt as much as I thought it would, or as much as I thought it should, given the punch and the force with which this man punched me. And what I did was, after I got my dog and I was in a happy mood and I was very, very conscious, right? A lot of what happens to our lives or in our lives is about us making a conscious choice to not live in the crap, right? So I was making a very conscious choice. I was like, okay, Ingrid, be happy. You're safe. You got your dog. Don't make this a thing. Don't, go home and start pitying yourself. And what I did was I came home and I started expressing out loud how grateful I was that this man only punched me on my arm, right? Like I was so like genuinely grateful because I thought about all the possible scenarios and all the things that could have gone wrong in that moment. And we've all heard these crazy stories in New York and around the world. It's not just New York. But he could have had a knife and slashed me. Like I didn't see it coming. And I think that's what this moon is kind of telling us to be aware, obviously, of our surroundings. But even if I was aware, like very aware of who's coming down the street and stuff, this particular person did not fit the profile. And by profile, I mean like, when you see like a homeless person or you see somebody like acting crazy or talking to themselves really loud in the middle of the streets, people tend to like move away from you because they assume that you're not well in the head or there's a mental issue, etc., right? But this guy was a regular guy, just like me, dressed just like me in terms of like he wasn't dirty, he wasn't, um, homeless. He was well put together actually, and he was an unassuming character to have done something like this. And so I think this new moon is really telling us to be discerning, even in the face of what we think are safe spots or safe individuals or safe situations. Um, yeah, and I don't know, just looking back, what could I have done differently? And what I could have done differently is exactly what I did, which was to come home or leave that situation and immediately shift my own energy. There was nothing I could have potentially done differently because it's broad, it's a heavy traffic time after work at that particular juncture in that particular street. So I couldn't have done anything different other than what I did after the fact. So this Libra and Scorpio moon is asking us to be cognizant that of our reactions to things, right? This whole offering is about regulating our emotions, to just be cognizant of that and to know that you are a powerful being, that you can shift the energy, that you can shift the negative frequency and completely transform it and alchemize it into a positive one. I was so happy yesterday. I was just super grateful. I came home. I, fed my dog. We went back out for a little walk because, in another time, I would have locked myself into my apartment and been like, oh my God, I was just assaulted. But I didn't do that. I went back out and then I came home. I again went into my gratitude and then I did like a little art project because art, when we draw or when we paint, it removes the heaviness from our physical body, from the auric field that is the consciousness of the physical body. Creativity is a divine healer. And so I was very conscious of that. So I'm going to talk now a little bit more. I just needed to share that because I think it was, not only was it a lesson for me, but it was such a beautiful engagement that sometimes we think the worst things have happened to us, and no, the worst things haven't. We just are reacting to it as if it has. And so we need to just pull back. So let's go into this. And I'm sorry that was like a 10-minute rambling of this, but it is important to share sometimes personal experiences like this because it will remind everyone else out there that we can alchemize a bad situation and turn it into a good potential, a good experience by trailblazing in a lovable way, shifting in a lovable way our experiences. And now I have a story to tell. So in the esoteric world, the meaning of this Vedic astrology in Libra, where the full moon they're telling us the full moon is falling into Libra, which is, by the way, ruled by Venus. There's a deeper meaning that extends way far beyond the simple idea of harmony, peace, or partnership, which is what I experienced. At an esoteric level, Libra is going to represent the act of weighing our reality. So for me, my reality was I was safe. I was okay. I didn't go to the ER. It wasn't an emergency, right? To weigh your reality. And it's this inner scale inside of us where our truth and our illusions, our self and the other, our desires and the fairness are constantly being weighed. It's within us. It's not outside of us. This is why I'm really loving esoteric astrology because it takes it out of this physicality and internalizes it, and which is probably the truer aspect of astrology. Um, how do we allow the stars and the constellations of the outer world affect our inner world? So under this full moon, with this Libra energy, there is an illumination of karmic dynamics within relationships, right? So even though I had this encounter, this man and I have a karmic relationship because he taught me such a beautiful freaking lesson. I don't know what his karmic reward is going to be for doing this, but he did teach me a beautiful karmic lessons. And so encounters sometimes may feel significant in ways that are very difficult to explain logically. And this is the PowerPoint of a Libra moon. It's not about explaining things in a logical way. It's a part of a larger unfolding pattern. And for me, it was me recognizing the pattern that I am not as aggressive as I was before. And I'm talking about just a year or two ago, right? Um, so, and by the way, the left side of the body is the physical representation of the divine feminine. And the strength of the divine feminine is that she doesn't necessarily pick up the sword. Her strength lies inside of her. She is an internal strength versus the physical representation of the male, divine male energy is the right side of the body, which the physical strength is then expressed on a physical level. or strength rather, is expressed on a physical level. But going back to Libra, Venus rules Libra, and it's going to bring in these themes of refinement. How can I refine who I am? It's going to also want to bring in this theme of attraction. What are we attracting? What's our desire for unity? How does that play out? It's also going to challenge individuals to move beyond the superficial harmony into something a little bit more spiritually aligned. Again, that's the example that I have to share with you of how I felt spiritually aligned to this idea of a superficial harmony on the exterior, making it a harmonious experience on my interior. This is not about avoiding conflict, right? Like for me, it really wasn't about avoiding conflict. It was about the awareness and understanding that balance means acting from a soul level. And so emotionally, this Vedic Libra influence on the full moon is going to create a heightened awareness of what is imbalanced within you. People may feel drawn toward a connection, stimulated by some sort of attraction, but there is a quiet tension sometimes that kind of arises between what we want in order to maintain peace and what we need in order to assert personal truth. So again, in my past life, i.e., a couple years ago, for me to have peace of mind, right? This is a very linear thing. I would have not only gone after that man, not only would I've called the police, not only would I've pressed charges, I would have done all of this to have this superficial engagement of peace of mind versus me asserting my own truth, which required that I um, fall into the space of my heart, which I immediately did, partly because I was scared. It was so jarring, and the other part because I've been doing a lot of work on myself, right? So I dropped into my heart and I looked for my personal truth, and my personal truth was I'm okay. I'm really not hurt. It could have been worse, right? And so this kind of engagement may lead, with a Libra moon, this kind of engagement may lead to moments of emotional fluctuation or even indecisions. But if you are true to yourself and drop to your heart and listen to the guidance of the inner feminine, you're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine. It's about adjusting remember, it's about adjusting the inner scale within ourselves. And the word, by the way, I don't think I mentioned it, but when I was doing the meditation for this full moon, the word that came up was mysterious. So under the Libra sign, mysterious is going to emerge with relationships. So for me, this was a mysterious engagement. Like, why did this man hurt me like this? Why did he punch me so hard? Like, what did I do? You can fall into that, or you can fall into the mystery of it, which is what I did. I was like, wow, this really is showing me how far I've come to not be in the space of aggression myself, right? But to carry myself with the power that I can shape my experience. And so people with a full moon in Libra might feel that certain encounters are fated or karmic, which is what I felt with this encounter. And even if you can't articulate why, you're going to be feeling the sense of mystery in relationships. And mystery here is not something that's hidden deep within ourselves, but it's suspended in the space between individuals, meaning there was something being orchestrated between that Latino man and myself in between us, in the space between us, that was a subtle undercurrent of an unspoken experience. And again, it requires that we pause and extrapolate from an experience that your own sense of mystery and wonder. And for me, I knew I was safe. And there was a sense that something more important was unfolding beneath the surface of this quite or maybe ordinary connection in New York City, because a lot of crazy stuff happens in New York City. So shifting now to the tropical perspective of the full moon, which they tell us is in Scorpio and ruled by Mars. So this Latino man was definitely exhibiting this Martian engagement of aggression. And by the way, it's Scorpio is also sometimes associated with Pluto, which is a dark undercurrent. It's the underbelly of something, sometimes potentially nefarious, but just something dark. So I was again interfacing with that darkness, and its esoteric meaning in of Scorpio centers around transformation and a confrontation with shadow and the process of emotional and psychological rebirth. Again, I'm sharing my experience because I had that confrontation with a shadow aspect of myself with that individual. I would never just randomly hurt someone, but in the past, if you came at me physically, we were going to have a brawl, right? So, it's just again showing me how there's a deeper aspect of Scorpio of the scorpionic aspect of myself that I need to perhaps continue to look at and seek a bigger, a deeper truth from. Whereas Libra is seeking this inner balance, Scorpio is seeking the truth at any cost. So when I say that, m- m- would I have learned or acknowledged, because for me, I think it was also an acknowledgement that I've come a long way. Would I even have noticed that I've come a long way had I not have had this shadow experience? I don't think so. Um, because I've just been living my life and not seeing my own transformation, which is part of Scorpio. And so this is a sign, meaning Scorpio is a sign that is going to strip away appearances and it's going to dive deep into the depth of the experience. So under this full moon in Scorpio, there's a strong pull towards uncovering what has been hidden. And for me, it looks like what has been hidden is my own acknowledgement of how much I have transformed and how much being in gratitude is my shield, right? And we live life and sometimes we just literally forget to be grateful for the little things. And whether that's something that um, about a relationship that's unclear, unresolved. This energy of Mars being part of, and that's in esoteric astrology, being part of Scorpio, and with this Pluto engagement, it's going to deepen whatever experience we engage in. And often it's going to bring in these themes, right? Scorpionic themes of release, endings, and regeneration. Scorpio is about this energy of the Phoenix rising. So for me, once I realized the deeper soul learning with this man, I almost did regenerate my internal power, my power to see that whatever darkness is out there is also a darkness within me. So I was able again to see the aggression that I myself perhaps have, again, not in a physical way, but maybe I've cursed somebody out that didn't need to be cursed out in such a forceful way. Like all of that stuff kind of like came up. Like, and I started asking myself, where and when have I hurt someone and they didn't see it coming? Right? So this is what Scorpio is going to do. It's an influence that can feel incredibly powerful, all-consuming, and it's going to rise from deep within yourself, but it's going to need you to demand, it's going not need you, but it's going to demand rather an acknowledgement of what's going on. So in this engagement, I acknowledged and I went through my journaling experience where who else could I have potentially hurt? It doesn't mean I have to go back, 10 years and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. But it does mean I have to acknowledge it in order to release those shadow aspects from within myself. And with a full moon in Scorpio, there can be a tendency toward um, an introspection that's secretive. And I was very conscious of not doing that. I immediately shared it with my Embodied Tarot group. I'm sharing the experience here with you because you don't want to hold on to something without expressing it and again releasing it and letting it go. It's part of the scorpionic moon energy. And primarily because you don't want it to fester. You want to just release it. And so there's this heightened sensitivity that's going to kind of arise with a Scorpio moon. And it's going to demand that you confront truths that have been avoided. And perhaps I have avoided knowing or acknowledging that I've hurt people that did not expect me to hurt them. And that's a big deal for me because I don't think I've ever analyzed anything like that. So going back to this word mysterious that I received in the meditation, mysterious, the mysterious qualities in Scorpio operates in a more internal way. Again, similar to the energy of Libra. This again, why I love esoteric astrology. It is not so much about this external dynamic that happened between me and this gentleman. It is about this hidden layer of the psyche, my psyche, your psyche. So people may feel drawn to what is unknown during a Scorpio full moon, things that are taboo, or maybe even things that are difficult to explain. Emotions are going to seem very complex and layered, but, and the minute you acknowledge it, it's going to reveal something gradually rather than all at once. So there's still lessons for me, I'm sure, to learn from this experience. There is often this sense that something deeper is at work whenever we're dealing with a Scorpio moon, even if you can't fully understand it at the moment. When you're considering both of these energies together, the Vedic full moon in Libra is highlighting the mystery with relationships and the unseen forces that bind people together, while this tropical Scorpio full moon is going to turn the intention inward to reveal a hidden emotional and psychological depth within yourself, within myself. And that's exactly that example that I shared with you is exactly how this full moon is going to work. It's a little bit tricky. So what I want you to do is to pause before you react. And in both scenarios of a full moon in Libra and a full moon in Scorpio, the feeling of mystery plays a central role in shaping our collective emotional atmosphere. It's either going to create this sense of significance as though events and emotions carry more meaning than usual, while also introducing us to the understanding that there are varying degrees of uncertainty in living this human experience. So rather than providing clear answers, this full moon is going to definitely require and invite us, actually. It's going to invite you to reflect. It's going to invite you to be aware of your reactions, your emotional reactions. And it's going to invite you to have the willingness to sit with what is yet to be revealed. So even though I did my little engagement and release things from my auric field, the consciousness of my physical body by drawing, even though I did all of that, even though I feel super blessed that I don't have a bruise, even though it's not as painful, but if I touch it, it's a little, it's a little swollen and stuff, even though all of that, even though I did my analysis and the drawing and the release, I know there's a bigger mystery here that has yet to be revealed because this stuff was leading up to um, my presentation of this full moon in Libra and Scorpio. And it specifically is about my emotional resonance, my emotional consciousness, the body of emotion that makes Ingrid, right? So everyone's going to be influenced differently. But I'm fully willing to to sit with what is yet to be revealed. I'm fully willing to reflect on my own inner awareness, and I invite you to do the same. Let's move on to the next slide. I told you guys this was going to be long. We'll move on to the next slide and see who the players are for this full moon on May 1st, 2026. So once again, we have a full moon in the sign of Libra, according to Vedic astrologers, and in the sign of Scorpio, according to Western tropical astrology. Now, Libra, let me just put this over, is ruled by Venus. And Venus rules the following tarot cards. The Empress, let's see if I can put this here, the Hierophant, and Justice. I hope you guys can see that. So when we're dealing with the energy of the Empress, let me just hold it up. The Empress archetype, we're dealing very much with this idea of birthing something new, fertility, motherhood, sensuality, uh, nurturing, creativity, feminine beauty, nature, harmony, art, etc. On her more challenging aspect, she can be about insecurities, she can be about lack of confidence and even lack of growth. And usually when you get this card and you're asking a yes or no question, the answer is usually yes. Now we have the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is, when you get this card, sometimes it's a maybe. But the Hierophant is about traditional institutions, traditional values, conventional values, obviously religion, the Pope, belief systems, and education also, because the Hierophant tends to be a teacher of the higher arts, right? So on its more challenging, it's about confronting tradition. It's about unconventional lifestyles, and it's about unconventional relationships even. And finally, we have here the Justice card. And whenever we're interfacing with the Justice card, it's about karmic justice as far as I'm concerned. It's about your consequences, legal disputes, the law, truth, decisions needing to be maintained in a law and order type way. And on its more challenging side, when we're dealing with the Justice card, we're talking about injustice. We're talking about retribution. We're seeing that in the United States now with a new wave of lawsuits and charges against the enemies of the state, as it were. So these are retributions. This is the negative quality of justice. It's also about dishonesty, corruption, and lack of accountability. Okay. So that's the energies of those cards, just very briefly. Let's put this over here. And then we have Scorpio. Now, Scorpio, in esoteric astrology, they'll use Mars as the ruling planet, but it's really Pluto is the more well-known ruling planet. So I pulled this card as a representation of Pluto. And Pluto in tarot rules these two cards, which is the death archetype and also the archetype of judgment. Now, when we're interfacing with death, this is about a spiritual transformation. This is about new beginnings, letting go, endings, transitions, um, unexpected upheavals, and even liberation sometimes, right? That strong release. On its more challenging side, this is about the inability to move forward. This is about fear of beginnings. This is about repeating negative patterns. So that's that very generally. And then we have judgment. And judgment is about the awakening. It's about a renewal. It's about a choice that will change your life for the better. And it's about examining your space of forgiveness. Can I forgive myself? Can I forgive others? On its more challenging side, I would say that this is about self-doubt, sometimes lack of self-awareness, and or even an unwillingness to learn a karmic lesson. So yeah, that's the judgment card. So when I do the full moon reading, I will be, let me just move this back here. I will be choosing from one of these five cards uh, in your reading. And also, just so you know, I am focusing on the moon's frequency when I'm reading these particular cards, but you can also look at it to, you can also look at your sun sign and your ascendant sign, and then your moon sign, and see what story is unraveling for you during this full moon period from this full moon until the new moon. All right, so let's move on to the next slide and let's get to the readings. Once again, we are going to start over here in Scorpio, and which the tropical Western astrology say the full moon is in, and we're going to make our way around and end with Libra. Okay, and again, this is a full moon, and I'm going to be using this just for identification, so you know which sign I am working with. And I'm going to use the Wisdom of Hafiz as the oracle. And then over here, the craft cards. And I'm using this basically because I want you to focus on finding the wisdom. And this is about crafting a new version of you through these full moon energy engagements. And let me put that aside. I've already pre-shuffled the cards. And over here on my side, you can't see it on the screen, I have the cards that I just went through with you, which is the Death card, Judgment, which is ruled by Pluto, which is scorpionic in nature. And then we have the Empress, the Hierophant, and Justice, which is ruled by Venus, and has that Libran flair to them. Okay, so here we go. Let me put this over here. So, Scorpio, what do we have for you? We have justice. So, immediately you got this Libran energy. So, this is a very balanced energy for me. And what this is telling me is that you will find justice in this engagement. And I'm really being called to the judgment card here. And that's because I feel that you've done your forgiveness work, or you've done some sort of work that has activated within you and in your surrounding this feeling of justice, this feeling of fairness, this feeling of balance within you. Let's see what your oracle says. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. Yeah, Scorpio, you did the work. You did the work. You focused on forgiving yourself and others. You've managed to find the equilibrium within yourself, and now it's time for you to play. So enjoy this frequency of the full moon. Happy playtime. That was awesome. Let's put these here. And now we're going to move on to Sagittarius. Let's see what you have. I hope you can hear me okay. Let me just maybe move. There you go. All right, so look at this. And I shuffled. So you also, Sagittarius, You have one of the energies of the scorpionic field, which is the judgment card that we spoke about. Again, this is about an awareness of looking within yourself, seeing what it is, and I am being drawn here to the death archetype, seeing what it is that you want to release. What is it that you want to let go of for this full moon period? You know, judgment sometimes also means you not judging yourself too harshly for the experiences that you've had. It's really time for, and this, I'm reminded here somehow about family dynamics. It's really important for you to step away, look at the bigger picture, and focus on your inner power. And let's see what we've got here. Pause for reflection. This is what I really want you to do to focus on your inner power. We do need to pause. We do need to look internally and ask ourselves, where is it that I am being unforgiving? Where is it that I'm judging too much? Where is it that I can release in order to feel certain levels of freedom? Pause. And this also is kind of telling me something about you breaking the chains of the past for this full moon period. Nice. And next we have Capricorn. You've got the Ace of Cups. This is about new relationships, new engagements. I'm being drawn here to this beautiful energy of the Empress. You're birthing something new that is deep, and it could be even a relationship with yourself. How are you now seeing yourself in this dynamic of who you've become through this transformational period? Beautiful. And this is, again, birthing something new. This is your guidance. Clear away old energies. I feel that you've been doing that. I feel, Capricorn, that you have been clearing these old energies. You're wanting to birth something new. I would pay attention to the new relationships that are forming because they're going to help you find an inner peace, find the peace that you've been looking for quite some time. And next we have beautiful Aquarius energy. Let's see what we have for you. You've got the Magician. When the Magician shows up, this is about your leadership skills, but this is about what alchemy do you want to create. I'm being drawn here to the Death card. Death is a transition. It's a transformational period of time. So it's asking, and this Aquarian energy, it's asking you to really transform your emotions, to transform and alchemize what it is that you're pouring out into the universe in order to receive a new version of yourself. And your guidance is have the courage to become a new person, have the courage to release these old emotional baggages that's really not serving anymore. Your trajectory, your sort of goals in life. Use the magic that you have within yourself to alchemize a new version of you. And next we have Pisces. See what you have. Pisces, I feel like your stability in life or your energy of where you want to sort of ground and feel secure is up in the air. You don't know what you want. This is a moment in time where things are moving quite quickly for you, but you literally do not know what you want to do. And so you're being guided here to seek traditional studies, to seek a traditional value. This is the Hierophant kind of coming forward and saying, okay, you have all of these offerings that you're not clear about, that you don't know if you want. Let's focus, let's educate, let's learn, both from a spiritual perspective and a mundane perspective, what it is and how it is I can move forward in order to make the choices that will be loving for you. And your guidance here is set your intentions. exactly what I was saying. You don't know what you want. It's important for you to like focus and study and be able to set your intentions moving forward. This is a potent, very powerful moon energy period for you to do exactly that. And next we have Aries. Let's see what you have. Aries, you got your own card, the Emperor. So this is decision-making time and the awareness that we have to rule with a certain level of calmness, with a certain level of softness of mind in order to not only look at what's best for you, but to look at what's best for those that are following you. And I'm really being drawn here to the Hierophant Aries because there's also like some sort of spiritual teaching that you're ready to share with the world during this full moon period. And this is your guidance. Establish priorities. I love that for you, Aries. Like it's really about what is it that you want to sort of mold within yourself that you want to share with the world and not feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities that are being placed before you, but rather to prioritize how it is and when it is that you want to begin to share your gifts with the world. Love it. And next we have Taurus. Let's see what your energy is. And this is about you being a little bit frugal with your spending. This is about you taking care of your body. This is about you solidifying exactly what your future is and how you want to move forward by balancing your finances for some reason, right? And so I'm being drawn here to the Justice card because I want you to honor your hard work. I want you to honor what you've built up by not being so frugal during this time period. I mean, like a spendthrift, like not frugal, but almost the sense that I'm getting is don't be careless with your finances and your body. That's it. So pay attention to these energies during this time period. Let's see what your guidance is. And this is about dance. I felt this balance thing. So it's like a dance that you have to do between what it is that you want, what it is that you want to covet, versus I don't want, it's not about being stingy, but it's about discerning how it is that you want to spend your money during this time period because it will impact your body. And it's a delicate dance for you right now because I know that you want to also play. So just, just don't throw away your money is basically the energy that I'm getting from this. All right. And the next energy that we have is beautiful Gemini. Let's see what you have. And you've got the Hierophant. Wow, there's a lot of you that are tapping into this particular full moon frequency because the Hierophant is again the energy that we find in Libra. So what I can share with you, Gemini, is that you too have something to teach the world. So this is very much in tune with, and I'm being drawn here to the Judgment card, very much in tune with what the Aries energy was about. For you to have a spiritual understanding of yourself and where you want to go through, you need to do this self-analysis, self-forgiveness, and not judging others, but rather looking at what's the gem, what's the thing from this relationship, from this experience that I can take and say, wow, this is higher knowledge that really benefits me in the long run. And your guidance is release and let go. Agreed. Release and let go what doesn't serve you. This is such a beautiful image too, because whatever this energy was in the past of you either judging yourself or judging others through dogmatic means or traditional means, you really felt trapped by that. And this is a moment for you to release it and let it go. And next we have Cancer, sun, moon, or rising. We've got the lovers, I mean, the sun card. So there's some illumination. Something is going to be shining for you where it's a blessing, where it's a gift, where again, another energy that I feel has been doing the work. So you're ready to birth a new aspect of yourself, a new creative engagement that's wanting to be birthed. For those of you with Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and your guidance is trust your wisdom, right? So oftentimes we have this baby, we have this birth thing that we want to do, and we don't trust our own inner guidance system. So you're being asked to be in the field of love, trusting your guidance, trusting your inner wisdom, and allow the energies of the universe to really highlight what it is that you should and or what it is that you have to sort of share with the world that will also ultimately um, elevate you into becoming the wise one yourself. And next we have Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You've got the Lovers card. I kind of sensed this card was coming. I thought the Sun card was the Lovers card. But yeah, you've got the Lovers card. So this is really all about you making the right choices for yourself, the loving choices for yourself. And sometimes we do have to weigh the pros and cons. We have to weigh the positive and negatives before we can actually decide, okay, this is the right choice for me. And sometimes the equilibrium is not weighing the positive and negative, the good or bad aspects of it, but really just dropping into the heart center, your strong heart center, and deciding, okay, this might be a little risky, but it's really what I love. It's really what's going to make me feel fulfilled and whole. And so in those circumstances, choose the adventurous side that is, in fact, the more loving choice for you. Oh, I put it back in the wrong location. And so your guidance here is speak your truth. I love this also. This energy that speaking your truth will ultimately lead you to making the right choice and the loving choice for yourself. Okay. Virgo, sun, moon, or rising. Let's see what you got. Okay, you're feeling a little bit embattled about family matters, things that you thought were resolved are creeping up again, things that you thought you had let go of are still there. This has to do with a little bit more forgiveness work that we need to do, a little bit more release, a little bit more of that space of living in gratitude for what you have accomplished so far and not holding on to grudges, not going into this circular pattern of even feeling victim, right? Like we don't want to live in this space of victimhood because it doesn't allow us to release, it doesn't allow us to let go, it doesn't allow us to expand. So a little work for you guys with the Virgo energies for this full moon. And your guidance is embrace your magnificence. I love it because I feel that, sometimes we focus so much on the negative that we don't see how brilliant we are. We don't see how much we've already contributed. We don't see even when we're living in these worlds of judgment and being the victim, we don't even see the power that we have, right? So you're being guided to maybe analyze that and lean into this versus leaning into these past engagements that are not allowing you to really be in the space of joy. And last but not least, we have this Libra energy. Let's see and you've got the Death card. Again, this group and whoever's watching this, you guys are really in tune with this energy of this full moon. And for the Libra energy to tap into that scorpionic energy, there is a beautiful balance that's going on here between the death archetype, which is about letting go, releasing, transforming, and what is real justice for you? What is really internally being balanced and alchemized and aligned for you? It has to do with you releasing the old ways and embracing the new, which requires that you acknowledge transformation and also be in the energy of the still point to allow that equilibrium to take hold within your body and outside of it. And your guidance is transform. You can't, I mean, this is what the death energy is all about. It's about transformation. Allow that transformation, let go, release it, and you will be gifted with this beautiful space of the Justice card, which is here to not only remind you to honor yourself, but also is going to somehow have you be honored by those that you have influenced. Beautiful. All right, that's it for now. Stay safe, stay positive. I think you're all, I'm glad I shared that story because I think you're all very much impacted by it, and you are falling into this beautiful space of awareness, which is ultimately what we want to do in order to regulate our emotional body. Love you all. Until next time. Bye.